Lost ancient civilizations, ocean mysteries, aliens, and hidden history. Beneath the waves of our modern oceans lie secrets that challenge everything we thought we knew about human history. Massive stone structures rest on seafloors that were once dry land. Ancient texts describe civilizations with technology that seems impossible for their time. And around the world, monuments align with celestial precision that baffles even today's engineers. Montage: underwater ruins, ancient pyramids, star charts, mysterious artifacts. What if human civilization is far older than we've been taught? What if advanced societies rose and fell long before recorded history? Join us as we dive into the mysteries of lost ancient civilizations, explore the ocean's hidden secrets, examine extraordinary archaeological discoveries, and investigate the controversial theories that connect our ancestors to the stars. Lost Ancient Civilizations. Part 1. The Sunken Cities. Our journey begins beneath the Mediterranean Sea, off the coast of Egypt, where one of the most remarkable underwater discoveries of the 21st century awaits. Underwater footage. Heracleion, the Egyptian Atlantis. In the year 2000, French archaeologist Frank Goddio made a discovery that rewrote ancient history. Lying 30 feet beneath the waters of Abu Qir Bay, he found the lost city of Heracleion, also known as Thonis. For over 1,200 years, this once mighty port city had been completely forgotten, mentioned only in ancient texts that scholars believed were mythology. Images: massive statues being raised from the sea, ancient coins, hieroglyphics. What Goddio's team found was breathtaking. Colossal statues of Egyptian gods standing 16 feet tall, perfectly preserved temple remains, ancient ships, and over 700 anchors. Gold coins, jewelry, and ceremonial objects lay scattered across the seafloor. But the most haunting discovery was the city's grand temple dedicated to Amun-Jereb, the supreme god of the Egypti. Heracleion was no minor settlement. Ancient writings reveal it was Egypt's main port for international trade, where Greek merchants mingled with Egyptian priests, and where Cleopatra herself was crowned. The city thrived for centuries as a gateway between the Mediterranean world and ancient Egypt. But around the 8th century AD, something catastrophic happened. The entire city, spanning over 11 square kilometers, slipped beneath the waves. Scientists believe a combination of soil liquefaction, earthquakes, and rising sea levels caused the ground itself to collapse, swallowing temples, homes, and harbors in a matter of hours or days. Dwarka, Krishna's legendary city. Half a world away, off the coast of Gujarat, India, lies another submerged mystery that blurs the line between myth and reality, the ancient city of Dwarka. Images: Indian temples, ancient Sanskrit texts, underwater structures. Hindu scriptures describe Dwarka as a magnificent city built by Lord Krishna, with 70,000 palaces made of gold, silver, and precious stones. For centuries, scholars dismissed these texts as pure mythology. But in the 1980s, marine archaeologists made a stunning discovery. Beneath the waters of the Arabian Sea, they found massive stone structures, ancient anchors, and fortification walls extending over several kilometers. Carbon dating of artifacts and wood samples yielded controversial results. Some materials dated to 7,500 BCE, nearly 10,000 years ago. If accurate, this would make Dwarka one of the oldest cities ever discovered, predating the Sumerian civilization by thousands of years. The discovery raises profound questions. How advanced were the civilizations of the Indian subcontinent in prehistory? Could the epic tales of the Mahabharata contain historical truths about advanced ancient societies? And what cataclysm sent this legendary city beneath the waves? Yonaguni Monument, Japan's enigma. Our final underwater mystery takes us to the waters off Yonaguni, Japan, where the most controversial submerged structure of all challenges our understanding of ancient human capability. Underwater footage. Massive terrace structures with right angles. Discovered in 1985 by dive tour operator Kihachiro Aratake, the Yonaguni Monument appears to be a massive stepped pyramid, complete with terraces, right angles, and what look like carved staircases. The main structure measures approximately 150 feet long and 90 feet wide. Marine geologist Masaroki Kimura has studied the site for decades. He argues the monument is man-made, pointing to tool marks, quarry marks, and designs that appear too symmetrical for natural formation. If the monument is artificial, it would have been constructed when the area was above sea level, between 10,000 and 12,000 years ago, at the end of the last ice age. Skeptics counter that the formation is entirely natural, shaped by underwater currents and geological processes. The debate continues to divide the scientific community. But one fact remains undisputed. If Yonaguni is man-made, it would represent a civilization with architectural knowledge that predates ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia by thousands of years. Part 2. Astronomical alignments and impossible engineering. As we surface from the ocean's depths, we turn our attention to monuments that stand in plain sight yet harbor secrets that continue to baffle researchers. The Great Pyramids' mathematical precision. Pyramids of Giza. The Great Pyramid of Giza isn't just the last remaining wonder of the ancient world. It's a mathematical and astronomical marvel that seems impossible for a civilization working with copper tools and no written mathematical formulas. Consider these facts. The pyramid's base is level to within just 2.1 centimeters across its 230-meter span. Its sides are aligned to true north with an accuracy of 3/60th of a single degree. The ratio of its perimeter to its height equals 2 pi, the same ratio as a circle's circumference to its radius. This ratio was supposedly unknown until the Greeks discovered it 2,000 years later. The pyramid contains approximately 2.3 million limestone blocks, each weighing 2 to 70 tons, fitted together with such precision that you cannot slide a credit card between many of the stones. Modern engineers admit they would struggle to replicate this achievement even with today's technology. But here's what truly astounds researchers. The Great Pyramid encodes the dimensions of Earth itself. If you multiply the pyramid's height by 43,200, you get the polar radius of Earth. Multiply the base perimeter by the same number, and you get Earth's equatorial circumference. Either this is an extraordinary coincidence, or the ancient Egyptians possessed geographical knowledge they shouldn't have had. Göbekli Tepe. Rewriting prehistory. Images. Massive T-shaped pillars with intricate carvings. In southeastern Turkey lies a discovery so revolutionary that it has forced archaeologists to reconsider the entire timeline of human civilization, Göbekli Tepe. Constructed approximately 11,500 years ago, Göbekli Tepe predates Stonehenge by 6,000 years and the Egyptian pyramids by 7,000 years. According to traditional historical narratives, the people who built this site should have been primitive hunter-gatherers living in small nomadic bands. They shouldn't have had the social organization, resources, or motivation to construct monumental architecture. Yet here stands a complex of massive stone circles, with T-shaped pillars weighing up to 20 tons, carved with sophisticated reliefs of animals, foxes, lions, bulls, scorpions, and vultures. The site covers 22 acres and contains at least 20 separate circular structures. What makes Göbekli Tepe even more mysterious is that its builders deliberately buried it around 8000 BCE, filling the entire complex with debris. Why would they invest enormous effort to construct this monument, only to bury it completely? Some researchers suggest they were preserving it for future generations or responding to some unknown catastrophe. The site suggests that complex civilization, religious belief, and architectural ambition emerged far earlier than we ever imagined. It challenges the fundamental narrative that agriculture created civilization. Perhaps, as Göbekli Tepe suggests, it was the other way around. The need to support ritual centers like this drove the agricultural revolution. Nazca lines, messages to the sky. Giant geoglyphs stretching across the desert. In the arid coastal plains of southern Peru, ancient hands carved one of history's most perplexing mysteries, the Nazca lines. Created between 500 BCE and 500 CE, these enormous geoglyphs stretch across 290 square miles of desert. From ground level, they're barely noticeable, shallow trenches in the dark desert pavement. But from the air, they transform into enormous figures. A spider spanning 150 feet, a monkey, a hummingbird with a 1,000-foot wingspan, and geometric shapes that run perfectly straight for miles across hills and valleys. The mystery isn't just their size, but their purpose. The Nazca people had no way to see their creations from above. So why create art that can only be fully appreciated from an aerial perspective they couldn't achieve? Archaeologist Maria Reiche spent 50 years studying the lines. She proposed they formed an astronomical calendar, with some lines aligning to sunrise positions during solstices. Others suggest the lines were ceremonial pathways for religious processions or markers for underground water sources. But some researchers propose more radical theories. Swiss author Erich von Daniken controversially suggested the lines were runways or markers for ancient astronauts. While mainstream archaeology rejects this, the question remains, why would the Nazca people invest generations of effort creating enormous images they could never see? Recent discoveries have added new dimensions to the mystery. Using drones and satellite imagery, researchers have identified over 140 new geoglyphs, including figures of humans and killer whales. Some lines appear to form a vast network connecting sacred sites across hundreds of miles. The Nazca lines continue to guard their secrets. Part 3. The Ancient Astronaut Theory. Throughout history, ancient cultures around the world have told stories of gods descending from the sky, bringing knowledge, technology, and civilization. Were these merely myths and legends? Or could they record actual encounters with advanced beings? The evidence in ancient texts. Ancient Sanskrit texts, Sumerian tablets, biblical illuminations. Consider the Vimanas described in ancient Hindu texts like the Mahabharata and the Ramayana. These weren't simple chariots. They were flying machines described in technical detail, with propulsion systems, weapons, and navigation capabilities. The Vaimanika Shastra, an ancient Sanskrit text, contains diagrams and specifications for these craft, describing their fuel sources, flight paths, and combat capabilities. In ancient Sumerian texts, the Anunnaki are described as beings who came from the heavens to earth. The Sumerians, who appeared suddenly around 4000 BCE with a fully developed civilization, credited these beings with teaching them writing, mathematics, astronomy, and law. Sumerian cylinder seals depict figures wearing what appear to be wristwatches and carrying handbags, surrounded by celestial symbols. The biblical book of Ezekiel describes a vision of a craft descending from the sky. I looked, and I saw a windstorm coming out of the north, an immense cloud with flashing lightning and surrounded by brilliant light. The center of the fire looked like glowing metal, and in the fire was what looked like 4 living creatures. As I looked at the living creatures, I saw a wheel on the ground beside each creature with its 4 faces. In 1974, NASA engineer Joseph Blumrich analyzed Ezekiel's description and concluded it matched a technically feasible spacecraft design. He was so convinced that he patented a design for an omnidirectional wheel based on the prophet's description. Inexplicable artifacts. Ancient batteries, crystal skulls, Antikythera mechanism. Beyond texts, physical artifacts challenge our understanding of ancient capabilities. In 1938, German archaeologist Wilhelm Koenig discovered clay jars near Baghdad containing copper cylinders and iron rods. When filled with an acidic solution, these 2,000-year-old devices generated electrical current. The Baghdad battery suggests ancient Mesopotamians had knowledge of electrochemistry. The Antikythera mechanism, discovered in a shipwreck off Greece, is even more remarkable. This 2,100-year-old device is a complex system of bronze gears that track the movements of the sun, moon, and planets. It calculated eclipses and predicted astronomical events decades in advance. Its sophistication wouldn't be matched for another 1,400 years. In Egypt, precise drill holes in granite and diorite display feed marks suggesting drilling rates that even modern diamond-tipped drills struggle to achieve. The precision of Egyptian stone vessels, some with walls just millimeters thick, suggests machine tool accuracy. Ancient relief carvings at Dendera depict what appear to be large bulbs connected to cables, leading some to suggest the Egyptians had electric lighting. In Pumapunku, Bolivia, andesite blocks weighing over 100 tons are cut with such precision their surfaces are flat to within a fraction of a millimeter. The cuts are clean and sharp, as if made with high-speed machinery. How did ancient people achieve this with stone tools? The cosmic connection. Images, pyramids around the world, star maps, ancient observatories. Perhaps the most compelling evidence for ancient advanced knowledge lies in the astronomical sophistication of prehistoric cultures. The 3 pyramids of Giza align precisely with the 3 stars of Orion's belt. The Sphinx faces directly east toward the sunrise on the spring equinox. Using computer simulations, researchers have shown that in 10,500 BCE, the Sphinx would have gazed directly at its celestial counterpart, the constellation Leo, rising on the eastern horizon at sunrise on the spring equinox. Could the Sphinx be twice as old as Egyptologists claim? This same date, 10,500 BCE, appears again and again in ancient sites. Göbekli Tepe was constructed around this time. Geological evidence suggests water erosion on the Sphinx dates to this period. Ancient maps, like the Piri Reis map of 1513, appear to show Antarctica's coastline as it looked before ice covered the continent, which would require knowledge from before 4000 BCE. The Maya were master astronomers who calculated the length of the solar year as 365.2420 days, just 0.0002 days off from modern measurements. They tracked Venus with extraordinary precision and predicted eclipses centuries in advance. Their knowledge of celestial cycles seems impossibly advanced for a civilization without telescopes. Ancient cultures worldwide were obsessed with the Pleiades star cluster and Sirius. The Dogon people of Mali possessed detailed knowledge of Sirius B, an invisible companion star not discovered by modern astronomy until 1862 and not photographed until 1970. How did they know it existed, along with its 50-year orbit and its incredible density? These astronomical alignments and knowledge can't be coincidental. Ancient peoples were encoding information about the cosmos into their monuments. But how did they acquire this knowledge? And why was it so important to preserve it in stone? Part 4. The Catastrophe Hypothesis. If advanced civilizations existed in deep prehistory, why did they vanish? And why is there so little evidence remaining? The answer may lie in a global catastrophe that reset human civilization. The Younger Dryas Impact. Ice Age landscapes, mammoth remains, crater formations. 12,800 years ago, Earth was emerging from the last ice age. Then, suddenly, temperatures plunged back into ice age conditions for 1,200 years in an event called the Younger Dryas. Across North America, massive animals went extinct: mammoths, mastodons, saber-toothed cats, giant sloths. The Clovis culture of North America vanished. For decades, the cause of this sudden climate reversal remained mysterious. But mounting evidence points to a cosmic catastrophe, a comet fragment or asteroid strike. Across North America, Europe, and Asia, scientists have found a thin layer of sediment dating to exactly 12,800 years ago. This layer contains microscopic diamonds, melted glass ferrules, iridium, platinum, and other materials that only form under extreme heat and pressure. It's the signature of an impact event. The impact likely hit the Laurentide ice sheet covering North America, vaporizing trillions of tons of ice. The resulting floods would have been catastrophic. Massive tsunamis would have swept across coastlines worldwide. Temperatures dropped as debris blocked sunlight. Firestorms consumed forests across continents. Any coastal civilizations would have been obliterated. Survivors would have been thrown back into a fight for basic survival, their knowledge and technology lost within generations. Only the hardiest structures, like massive stone monuments, would survive. This might explain why advanced civilizations seem to appear suddenly with no precursor. They weren't the first. They were rebuilding from the ashes. Flood myths and collective memory. Montage: ancient flood depictions from various cultures. Over 500 cultures around the world have flood myths in their ancient traditions. The Epic of Gilgamesh describes a devastating flood that destroyed civilization. The biblical story of Noah's Ark is one of many Middle Eastern flood narratives. Hindu texts describe multiple floods that destroyed previous ages of humanity. Native American, Chinese, Australian Aboriginal, and Polynesian cultures all have detailed flood legends. Could these stories preserve memories of real catastrophic events? The details are remarkably consistent. A great flood triggered by divine anger or cosmic forces, the destruction of an advanced civilization, a few survivors who preserved crucial knowledge, and the rebuilding of humanity afterward. Greek philosopher Plato wrote of Atlantis, an advanced island civilization destroyed in a single day and night by earthquakes and floods around 9600 BCE. For centuries, scholars dismissed this as pure fiction. But the date Plato gives, approximately 11,600 years ago, corresponds precisely with the end of the last ice age and the Younger Dryas impact event. Was Atlantis a real place? Perhaps not in the literal sense of Plato's description. But his account might preserve distorted memories of actual advanced societies destroyed by the cataclysms that ended the Ice Age. As sea levels rose 400 feet at the Ice Age's end, prime coastal territories that likely held the most advanced settlements vanished beneath the waves. The survivors would have fled inland to higher ground, carrying fragments of their knowledge: astronomy, agriculture, monumental architecture, and mathematics. This might explain why civilizations seem to emerge fully formed: the Egyptians building pyramids, the Sumerians with written language, the Maya with advanced astronomy. They weren't starting from scratch. They were remembering. Closing segment. Montage. All the locations and artifacts shown throughout. The evidence is undeniable. Humanity's past is far stranger and more complex than conventional history suggests. Beneath the oceans lie drowned cities that once thrived. Ancient monuments encode astronomical knowledge we're only beginning to understand. Texts describe technologies that seem impossible for their time. And geological evidence points to catastrophes that could have destroyed advanced civilizations. Are all these mysteries evidence of ancient astronauts sharing their technology? Or do they reveal that human ingenuity and scientific understanding emerged far earlier than we believed? Perhaps our ancestors weren't primitive. Perhaps they were sophisticated observers of nature who unlocked secrets we're only now rediscovering. What's clear is that the conventional narrative of human progress, rising linearly from primitive origins to modern sophistication, is incomplete. Our past holds secrets we're only beginning to uncover. Every new discovery raises more questions than it answers. The truth about lost civilizations remains tantalizingly out of reach, hidden beneath ocean waves, buried under centuries of sediment, or encoded in monuments we don't yet fully understand. But with each passing year, new technologies reveal more of our forgotten history. Perhaps we're not the first advanced civilization Earth has hosted. Perhaps we're the latest in a cycle that stretches back far beyond recorded history. And perhaps, encoded in ancient monuments and myths, our ancestors left us warnings and wisdom we've yet to comprehend. The search for our true origins continues. The oceans still guard their secrets. The stones still hold their mysteries. And somewhere, in the fragments of ancient knowledge we've only begun to piece together, lies the story of who we really are and where we truly came from. The past isn't dead. It's not even past. It's waiting beneath the waves, beneath the sand, written in stone and stars, ready to rewrite everything we think we know about human history. This the end of story about our lost ancient civilizations, ocean mysteries, aliens, and hidden history. Subscribe to Timelines of Nations for weekly videos exploring the ancient to modern history of countries around the world.